Put it in your car, man. You're gonna
My
walk.
leg's broken. I just got thrown off the balcony.
You didn't get thrown off. You jumped off. I saw you close the door.
Victoria Martens' autopsy shows she was strangled to death, dismembered, and set on fire. Her autopsy also showed 10-year-old Victoria was sexually abused.
And Jessica's holding her hands, and Fabian was her.
So they were cutting her arms off in the bedroom.
Then they put her other pieces in the bathtub.
Did he penetrate Victoria with his...
Yes.
Was your daughter saying anything?
Stop.
This is 35-year-old Mitchelle Martens, a mother of two whose spine-chilling revelation left the detective and the entire state of Texas in complete shock.
You were in the room while she was being assaulted. What part did you take in that act?
Always gonna be a why. You came to our door.
Come here. Come here. Come here.
I didn't do nothing.
Come here.
There's some
That's Kelly speaking to police in August 26, 2016.
that went down. No, I didn't do nothing.
Hey, stop. Why'd you lock the door?
Somebody just started a fire and went over the balcony, dude.
APD officers were there initially that night after the call about a fire at the apartment where Victoria Martens lives with her mother Mitchell and her mother's boyfriend Fabian Gonzales.
What were you fighting about?
She woke up and asked where her daughter was.
Uh-huh.
I don't know where she's at, dude.
Okay. No, we got her. She's in another apartment. Did you hit her? Did you hit her?
Huh?
Did you hit somebody?
She hit me and I hit her back.
A couple of other officers go to the apartment not knowing what they'll find, and when they finally come out their demeanor is changed. They seems upset.
Hey, put it in your car, man. You're gonna
My leg's
walk.
broken. I just got thrown off the balcony.
You didn't get thrown off. You jumped off. I saw you close the door.
The officers then received a call from dispatch.
You advise what we're looking at here, male, female, class rating.
Walk.
No.
Female 10.
No.
Before they reached the officer's car, Kelly told them there was another person with her in the apartment.
Who else was in the apartment with you?
Another guy. Oh.
Where's the other guy?
He took coffee. He started trying to wipe blood up. And I started panicking.
Who's the other guy?
I don't know his name. They call him 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐿𝐫𝐿𝐫𝐿
Victoria case was the most brutal and horrific case in my opinion, that Albuquerque has ever seen. As the horrifying details of crime came to light, all three adults were immediately taken into custody. Detectives soon uncover the dark secret of the seemingly ordinary family.
Hey, no, ma'am. I'm Corey. It's nice to meet you.
Josh is gonna go back in and talk to Phoebe a little bit. So I just wanted to come back in so that way we can kind of continue on going through.
It was on August 24, 2016, it started with a frantic 911 call, saying, "There's smoke coming from the bathroom." I think, oh my God, it's a child. She had just turned 10. Hours after blowing out her birthday candles, police stepped into a second-floor apartment in Albuquerque and were hit with smoke, silence, and something far worse. In the bathtub, they found what no officer should ever see. Victoria Martens had been drugged, assaulted, dismembered, and set on fire, by people who were supposed to protect her. This left trained responders frozen, searching for answers on a night meant for celebration. What kind of wickedness could exist behind closed doors? Her mother. Her mother's boyfriend. And a woman just released from prison. But the horror didn't stop there. DNA from an unknown man was found on the scene, and to this day, he's never been identified. 5 warning calls were made to child services before her death, and every single one was ignored. What really happened inside that apartment? Why was a child left unprotected, despite multiple red flags? And how did the legal system handle a case that rocked the entire state of New Mexico? This is not just a story of unthinkable violence, it's a story of failure, of injustice, and of a system that didn't act until it was too late. Stay with me, the truth behind Victoria Martens' final hours needs to be heard, and it will leave you absolutely stunned. To those joining us for the first time, welcome. Let us know in the comment where you're watching from, and to my dear returning viewers and friends, thank you. Your continued support through your shares, likes and thoughtful comments helps keeps this stories alive, meaningful, and raises a lot of awareness. I am truly grateful to have you here. Now let's go back to a small town, to a little girl named Victoria Martens, and to the night she celebrated her last 10th birthday. Victoria Martens entered the world on August 23, 2006, in Albuquerque, New Mexico, quickly winning hearts with her bright smile and inquisitive nature. A student at Petroglyph Elementary, she stood out for her love of drawing and storytelling, often sketching colorful scenes of family outings. Teachers described her as kind and talkative, the sort of child who made friends easily and brightened classrooms with her laughter and boundless curiosity about the world around her. Victoria shared a modest second-story apartment near downtown Albuquerque with her mother, Mitchelle Martens. The small unit's peeling paint and creaking floorboards belied the warmth Mitchelle tried to create through impromptu bedtime stories and homemade meals. Working irregular hours, Mitchelle balanced cleaning jobs and odd shifts to provide for her daughter. Despite financial constraints, Victoria's room was filled with hand-me-down toys and vibrant drawings taped to the walls, a testament to her mother's effort to nurture normalcy. Between early 2015 and mid-2016, the New Mexico Children, Youth, and Families Department logged 5 calls concerning Victoria's welfare, 4 placed by Mitchelle herself, 1 by a neighbor. Reports ranged from concerns over domestic arguments to unexplained bruises and inconsistent caregiving. Each investigation concluded without removal or significant intervention, citing insufficient evidence of ongoing harm. No safety plan was established, and the family received only brief check-ins, leaving underlying issues unaddressed and unresolved. These unheeded warnings set the stage for tragedy. With no follow-through on reports and no meaningful support network, Victoria remained exposed to escalating risks within her own home. Every missed opportunity for intervention deepened her vulnerability, underscoring how procedural gaps and resource shortages in child welfare services can leave a young life dangerously unprotected. Understanding these failures is crucial, not only to honor Victoria's memory but to ensure similar oversights never happen again. At approximately 10 p.m., a neighbor glanced up to see 𝐬𝐮𝐿 cradling Victoria in her arms as she crossed the apartment threshold. The girl, dressed in a party dress, appeared quiet and withdrawn, an uneasy echo of what should have been birthday excitement. Inside, muted thumps and occasional shuffles suggested restless movement, but no one called out for help. For hours, the building's usual calm was replaced by an unsettling hush broken only by faint creaks and the distant hum of traffic. Around midnight, a muffled thud resonated from the hallway, followed by silence. The neighbor wondered if Victoria had fallen asleep early. Minutes stretched into hours. At 4:30 a.m. Mitchelle Martens and her boyfriend, Fabian Gonzales, stepped into the hallway with flushed faces and disheveled clothing. Their voices trembled as they claimed 𝐬𝐿 had attacked them with a household iron. Alarmed tenants dialed 911, sensing something was terribly wrong. Within minutes, patrol cars arrived, lights casting harsh glare across the corridor, setting the stage for a discovery no one could have anticipated. First responders followed Mitchelle's trembling hand to the bathroom door. Smoke curled from underneath, carrying the acrid scent of burning fabric. As officers pushed inside, a scorched blanket lay draped over the bathtub's edge. Beneath it, jagged edges of charred material hinted at what lay hidden. Backlit by emergency flashlights, fragments of clothing and twisted limbs emerged from the shallow water, half submerged in suds and ash. The silence that fell over the room was heavier than any voice could speak. Gloves on, investigators documented every detail, treating the scene with somber precision as they worked to preserve the fragile evidence of a crime beyond imagination.
The 10-year-old girl was murdered in her Northwest Albuquerque apartment in 2016. Mitchelle Martens pled guilty 4 years ago to contributing to her daughter's death by creating a dangerous living environment.
The medical examiner's report painted an even darker picture. Victoria's body showed signs of forced alcohol and methamphetamine intake, administered minutes before her death. Bruising around her neck indicated strangulation, while deep lacerations on her torso pointed to stabbing. Further examination revealed evidence of sexual assault, confirmed by forensic analysis. The ultimate indignity came in the form of dismemberment. Sharp tool marks on bone suggested calculated severing. Finally, low-intensity flames had been applied post-mortem, likely in an attempt to conceal the earlier atrocities. Each finding built upon the last, revealing a sequence of calculated cruelty and a chilling disregard for the life of a child. In that moment, amidst smoke, blood, and shattered innocence, the weight of every missed warning bore down on those present. Questions surged. How did a child reach such peril before anyone stepped in? Could the handful of unheeded reports have offered a lifeline? As dawn crept in, the apartment transformed from a site of domestic routine into a stark monument of failure, demanding that we examine not only what occurred that night, but how each ignored plea for help led to one of the most devastating crimes in Albuquerque's recent history. As officers stepped into the smoke-filled hallway, their training kicked in, but the sight that met them halted every practice procedure. The hallway's stark white walls were smeared with ash, and the lingering heat from the bathroom door sent a wave of discomfort through the responders. Inside, each investigator paused at the threshold, acknowledging without words the gravity of what lay beneath the scorched blanket in the tub. Nearby, evidence markers dotted the floor, numbered flags next to fragments of bedding, drops of blood, and discarded clothing. The air carried the sharp tang of chemicals used to process the scene, mixing with the heavy odor of charred fabric. Even veteran detectives, accustomed to graphic cases, found themselves silent, methodically photographing each angle to capture the full extent of the crime. Within minutes of documenting the scene, officers placed Mitchelle Martens, 35, Fabian Gonzales, 31, and 𝐬𝐮𝐿, 31, in handcuffs. Each was read their rights before being escorted through yellow-taped corridors to awaiting patrol cars. Charges filed against all three included first-degree murder, child abuse resulting in death, kidnapping, tampering with evidence, and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Prosecutors emphasized the severity of administering alcohol and methamphetamine to a child, along with the extreme violence that followed. The trio's stunned expressions contrasted sharply with the seriousness of the accusations. As they were driven to the county jail, deputies double-checked paperwork, acutely aware that this case would draw intense scrutiny from both the public and the media. On September 16, 2016, the three appeared before Judge Luis Martinez for their initial arraignment. Without entering pleas, they each sat at defense tables under bright courtroom lights as charges were formally read. The prosecution requested, and the court granted, $1 million cash-only bonds per defendant, deemed necessary to protect community safety and ensure court appearances. Bail conditions included GPS monitoring and no contact with potential witnesses. Reporters lined the gallery, flashing cameras as family members observed in tense silence. The judge set the next hearing for late October, marking the formal launch of what would become one of the state's most closely watched child homicide cases. If you're as outraged as I am, let me know in the comments below. Sharing your thoughts not only honors Victoria's memory but also highlights how collective awareness can drive change in child protection policies. Don't forget to like this video and hit that subscribe button to stay informed on every development. As crime scene analysts examined the apartment's remnants, scientific teams uncovered a partial DNA profile on the bathtub rim, one that did not match Mitchelle, Fabian, or 𝐬𝐿. The profile hinted at a fourth individual whose identity remains unknown. Despite extensive database searches and public appeals, authorities have yet to name a suspect. This lingering mystery underscores how, even amid high-profile prosecutions, critical pieces of the puzzle can remain missing. The open status of this lead continues to trouble investigators and Victoria's family, who await answers about every person involved in that night's tragic events. In June 2017, the Bernalillo County District Attorney's Office successfully petitioned for separate trials. Prosecutors cited conflicting narratives and potential self-incrimination issues among the defendants. Trying Mitchelle, Fabian, and 𝐬𝐿 in individual courtrooms would allow evidence unique to each defendant to be presented without risking compromise of co-defendant rights. The judge agreed, noting that the complexity and severity of charges warranted distinct proceedings. This move heightened anticipation within legal circles, signaling that each defendant's role would be scrutinized on its own merits rather than filtered through a joint defense strategy. On June 29, 2018, Mitchelle Martens accepted a plea to one count of child abuse resulting in death, acknowledging that several initial statements she made did not withstand scrutiny. Under the agreement, she received a 12-year prison sentence. In early 2019, 𝐬𝐿 entered her own guilty plea to child abuse resulting in death and agreed to testify against Fabian Gonzales. Her cooperation came with a recommended sentence of 44 years, subject to standard reductions that could cut her term roughly in half. Both deals allowed prosecutors to secure convictions quickly while reserving the toughest charges for trial. One defendant refused to follow the path of lesser consequences. While two co-defendants opted for negotiated resolutions, Fabian Gonzales prepared to contest every allegation in open court. His decision set the stage for a high-stakes struggle, pitting lead prosecutors against a defense determined to challenge each forensic finding and witness account. As pre-trial motions flew and expert testimonies were lined up, observers braced for the moment when the full story, complete with cross-examinations and courtroom revelations, would come to light. The upcoming trial promised not only legal drama but the final chapter in Victoria's story. In October 2022, the case against Fabian Gonzales reached its climax. A jury found him guilty of reckless child abuse resulting in death, evidence tampering, and conspiracy to tamper with evidence. Prosecutors demonstrated how Gonzales participated in administering drugs and obscuring the scene, swaying the jury toward conviction on all counts. On October 27, 2022, the judge imposed a 37.5-year prison term, with eligibility for parole after serving 18 3/4 years.
Last month, Judge Leo sentenced Fabian Gonzales to 37.5 years in prison for putting Victoria's life in danger and trying to dispose of her body.
He entered into Mitchelle Martens' life and changed the course of not only her life, but then ended Victoria's life just a couple weeks later on her birthday.
This sentence reflected the court's determination that Gonzales's actions directly contributed to the violence against Victoria and merited a substantial custodial period to protect the public. 𝐬𝐮𝐿's plea agreement resulted in a recommended 44-year sentence for child abuse resulting in death.
Gonzales's cousin, 𝐬𝐮𝐿, was sentenced to 44 years for the same crimes. She will only have to serve half that with good time. As part of her plea deal, she testified against Gonzales.
Standard reductions for good behavior and cooperation trimmed her term to roughly 22 years behind bars. Her testimony proved critical in securing Gonzales's conviction, and the court acknowledged her role in assisting prosecutors by agreeing to testify. 𝐾𝐿 will remain in custody well into her middle age, a reminder of the price paid for participation in a crime of such gravity. Mitchelle Martens' plea to child abuse resulting in death carried a 12-year sentence.
The mother of Victoria Martens was sentenced today for her role in the little girl's death. Mitchelle Martens was the last person sentenced in that case that shocked Albuquerque.
In 2016, Mitchelle Martens pled guilty 4 years ago to contributing to her daughter's death by creating a dangerous living environment. She faced 12 to 15 years as part of a plea agreement.
With credit for time served and the possibility of early release for good behavior, she may be eligible for parole after approximately half her term. The court weighed her inconsistent statements and the extent of her involvement, ultimately deeming this sentence appropriate given the negotiated scope of her plea deal. Mitchelle's release prospects hinge on strict parole board review and demonstration of rehabilitation. While these verdicts bring formal closure, the wider picture remains incomplete. The unidentified DNA profile continues to raise questions about who else might have been at the scene. Many wonder whether additional investigations could uncover that fourth presence and deliver fuller accountability. Moreover, the case highlights critical vulnerabilities in child welfare procedures, prompting calls for systemic reform. True justice would not only punish those convicted but also spur safeguards to prevent a repeat of missed opportunities. As Victoria's memory endures, the challenge lies in translating lessons learned into lasting protection for other children. To honor Victoria's memory, community friends organized a memorial in late August 2016 that drew over 1,500 supporters to a downtown park. Attendees released balloons and shared stories, transforming grief into a collective promise to protect children. That day, the city united in remembrance of a life cut too short. In August 2017, Victoria's maternal grandparents filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the city of Albuquerque and its police department, alleging negligence in failing to act on earlier abuse reports. They sought policy reforms and financial damages, but the court dismissed the case in February 2021, leaving questions unanswered. Victoria's story underscores the necessity of taking every report of child abuse seriously. When concerns went unaddressed, a single missed opportunity led to irreversible loss. Communities must create reliable support networks, ensure meaningful and thorough investigations, and empower educators, neighbors, and agencies to act timely and decisively. Only by reinforcing accountability at every level, from frontline workers to policymakers, can we prevent tragedies that could otherwise be averted through vigilance and collective responsibility. Share this video and let us know how communities can strengthen protections for vulnerable children. Your voice matters in shaping policies that keep every child safe. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.